guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be filming a Q&A. I'm going to be answering all of your Instagram questions, and I am looking a hot mess. We went outside for a walk. It was supposed to be just cloudy and it started sprinkling, so my hair is a mess. I'm wearing a hat because honestly I don't even want to know what's going on after there. But anyway, it's just gonna be a super casual one. I honestly probably won't edit much. You can see shadows because of how dark it is outside. It's just been like raining nonstop here in Illinois, and it doesn't help the fact that we're like stuck inside. So anyway, okay, so the first question is, how are you introducing money budgeting principles to Maci? So before all of this happened, Jason and I came up with a method of teaching Maci about money. She doesn't truly understand money just yet. Honestly, she thinks coins are better than dollars, which is hilarious to me because at some point she'll realize that it's the opposite. But she got to the point when we would like go to Target or go pretty much anywhere and she'd ask for stuff, for candy, for a snack, she'd ask for toys. And so we just kind of got sick of constantly telling her no, to wait until ask Santa Claus. We just got sick of saying that. So we started giving her chores and saying, you can do chores to save up for those things. Now, in reality, she's not really saving, because when she does a chore, like when she fixes all of our shoes by the door, she gets like 25 cents or something. It's nothing much at all. And usually when she gets a toy, I mean, toys are pretty expensive, but it just depends on where we go. So for the most part, it's not really like she's paying completely for it because she's little. She doesn't understand money just yet. But we try to do that. Like, she only really gets new toys when it's her birthday or it's some type of, you know, some type of holiday. But if she wants to actually buy a toy, she has to work for it. And sometimes it's like she fixes the toys and does some chores around the house, and then she gets to go to the Dollar Tree and pick one thing out. That's usually honestly the case. But I think we got ourselves into that mess because when we were trying to potty train her, we really couldn't figure out a way to like motivate her. A lot of people do like stickers, people do like, oh, you can get an M&M. She just wasn't having it, and so we started doing like, you can go to the Dollar Tree and pick out a toy. And so then it just got to the point where, like, you know, she started getting really good at going to the potty and she expected toys all the time. So since then, again, we've just done like the chore method, and that seems to really help. Although eventually I think we're gonna have to do like straight money with her. Like, hey, you do these chores, you can get a set allowance every month. You're gonna have to save up completely, like once she understands money a little bit more. How is going from 1 to 2 little ones? Anything surprising about the transition? So we are almost 5 months in. Mila is almost 5 months old. She will be 5 months old on the 31st. So I would say the transition to 2 has been pretty smooth. In the very beginning, it was a big shock to me how difficult it was. And I think it's just because like Maci's a lot older. She's almost 5. So we went from having a pretty independent child to having like a completely dependent kid, like baby again. And that was just really shocking. Even though I'd gone through it before, even though I knew somewhat what to expect when it came to everything, it was just really surprising to me how much it was going to be. Now I feel like we've gotten into a routine. Mila is sleeping pretty well for the most part. There's occasionally times where she like doesn't sleep well at night. But last night she slept almost 11 hours, so I'm hoping that we're getting to a point where she's like gonna sleep well. Maci and Mila love each other. For a while, Mila could like seem like she had no feelings towards Maci at all. And now recently, like, she just laughs at her, she looks for her, she loves when Maci sings to her. So it's really fun to see that bond. But I would say going from 1 to 2 hasn't been as bad as going from 0 to 1. 0 to 1 was so shocking because you're used to living your life and being able to do everything that you want to do whenever you want to do it, and then all of a sudden you have this little baby and you're like, holy crap, what did I do? Like, what in the world did I do? So again, I feel like the transition to 2 hasn't been as bad as 1, but it's just different. Like Mila is completely different than Maci, and I think me and Jason kind of went into it thinking like, oh, if we get another Maci, like it'll be easy and she'll start sleeping good and all of these different things. And for the most part, like I said, Mila is not significantly different from Maci as a baby. If anything, she's probably easier than Maci was, but it's so different having two. Like in the past, if I wanted to get some stuff done or if Jason wanted to go golfing, one of us would watch Maci, and it was easy. It was easy to entertain her. She was a couple of years old, and now it's like when one of us has to go do something, it's like a hassle for the other. Like you have two kids now, they're at completely different ages. The other night, one of our neighbors, they like had a ton of rain go into their basement, and Jason was out there trying to help. Maci went out there, of course, because she wanted to help a little bit too, and Maci got soaked, and then she couldn't get her boots off in time, so she had a little accident, so I had to put her in the bath. Mila was on the play mat. Like it was just chaotic, but at the same point, like when it's calm and when both kids are like happy and we're all like playing together, I couldn't ask for anything more. So it has been a transition, that's for sure. I keep answering these with very long answers, but it has been a transition for sure. Again, I don't think it's as bad going from 2 to 1. What major and career would you want to pursue if accounting was not an option? I've actually talked to Jason a lot about this because just like, you know, what ifs. And if I did not go to school for accounting, I think I would have really liked to be a fertility doctor, because I've gone through fertility. I feel like it's one of those things that like you can really like change someone's life. You can give them a baby. And I always feel like I just feel like that would be a fun thing to do, like a fun type of doctor. And you're not like dealing so much with like the blood and all of that. Like, I just feel like that would be a fun thing to do. But of course, like being a doctor, that training and stuff takes years. So I don't know. That's just like the one thing that I think of if I wasn't an accountant. Do you buy life insurance for you or Jason? How often do you talk with Jason about money? So both me and Jason and the girls have life insurance. It's through my company. I get like automatic insurance from them, like accidental, I think maybe it's not accidental, I don't know. I have some automatic stuff, and then I also bought more on top of that, just because I am the only one that works, and so if something happens to me, I want to make sure that Jason is okay. So yeah, we do have health insurance or life insurance, and me and Jason talk about money all the time. He's not like super into the whole like sitting down tracking every expense, but like we do check in. I tell him how much we're saving that month. I talk about like, you know, is there anything that you anticipate us needing for the house, or do you want me to add to the budget? We talk money a lot, but it's usually more like big picture stuff and not like tiny little details. Although sometimes when we're getting close to the end of the month and we're like low on certain funds, I'll say like, hey, hold off on whatever you're planning on buying, or like if you have any ideas, because we're a little bit low on groceries or something like that. You seem so calm on your channel. Are you actually that way? I don't think I'm a calm person at all. I am probably the opposite of calm. I wish I was calm. I wish that I could like settle down and just like sit down and read a book. I feel like I used to be that way. And then once I started like YouTube and then Etsy and studying for the CPA exam, like I have just been like go, go, go for so long that I honestly like it takes a lot out of me to just like be like, okay, you're gonna sit down, you're gonna watch a movie, or you're gonna sit down and you're gonna listen to an audiobook or something. Like I have to legit tell myself to calm down. And it's something that I'm definitely working on, because with the two girls, I feel like I need to have some time for myself. I need to like spend time with them, and so I need to like calm down and chill. So yeah, to answer your question, no, I am not. I am a busybody for sure. I feel weird if I'm like sitting down doing nothing, but I'm working on it. I feel like it's something that I need to change about myself. So the next thing is, I admire you so much. How do you take care of your personal life working so hard? So thank you so much. I work my butt off. I seriously do. And honestly, I feel like it's worth it. Like we have changed our life a lot because of how hard I've worked and how Jason has helped me work hard. I am still trying to figure out how to take care of myself. The funny thing is, it's like when I started YouTube, when I started everything, this was like it was like kind of my hobby. Like I just got into budgeting, just got into planning, and like it was fun. It was fun to like plan out my stickers and to like figure out our budget. It was my hobby for sure. And then over time, it became more of like a job, and that's completely great. Like if your hobby becomes a job, that's amazing, but you also have to find something else to be your hobby then. So I am working on it, that's for sure. Do you want more kids? Absolutely not. I do not want any more kids. I love kids. I love Maci. I love Mila. And I really, really, really for a long time wanted to have a little boy, but I just feel like for the things that we want to do, it's not super possible to have another one. But I said the same exact thing with Maci, like after we had Maci and then we had Mila. So I'm not going to say never, but I, at this moment, say it absolutely not. Let's see. Tips for motivation while studying for the CPA. That's a great question. So for me, my biggest motivation was just I knew that it was a goal of mine, and I knew I wanted to complete it at some point. And I knew if I didn't do it during the period of time that I did it, that I would probably not be able to, because if we had more kids, it would be more difficult to leave 2 with Jason and try and go study. I think the biggest motivation was just that I really wanted to do it. And then of course, like once I failed FAR, if you guys are not super familiar with my like CPA journey, I did fail my first test, and doing that, I feel like just kind of lit a fire under me. It was like, okay, you didn't do so well. You didn't do as bad as you thought. Like I got a 70%, that was not that, or a 70, that wasn't that bad. But I think it just made me like be like, okay, I'm gonna prove myself. I'm gonna prove that I can do this, because that is like the biggest thing. It's like I really dislike when people tell me that I can't do certain things, and the fact that I like didn't pass that one, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. But I think again, the biggest motivation was just that I really always wanted to get my CPA. It was always something that I thought I would do, like from when I was in high school doing accounting classes all the way through college. Like it was always something that I thought I would do. And so I like knew if I didn't do it, that I would always think back about like, what if I would have gotten it? What kind of accounting jobs do you feel would be great for single moms? I don't think accounting jobs, I don't think that's like necessarily the question. It's more like what company, because I feel like you could do like my job right now. You could be a senior accountant or a manager really and be a single mom. I think the hardest part about it is just finding a company that is like family friendly and that will allow you to have like all of the extra time that you're gonna need, because you don't have somebody else to fall back on. So again, I think you could probably do any job. I think you're just gonna have to find the right place that's going to really help like support you. And I feel like a lot of times nowadays, a lot of places are family friendly. Like my company is definitely family friendly. If I ever needed to like leave because of the girls, or if Jason wasn't feeling well, like I could totally take like a family sick day. So I think it's just a matter of finding the right place is the biggest thing. Would you be making more in a public firm with your CPA license than you are in private? Have you gone down that route? So that's hard to say. Although I can say that when I was interning at like a middle-sized public accounting firm, I did have a couple friends who received full-time offers. They were a year ahead of me. Like normally in that situation, you would intern for them 2 summers. So like your junior summer, your senior summer, and then you would start full-time. I think that's how it would go. Anyway, and then you'd get the full-time offer like to start like right after your internship during that period of time. But anyway, so their offer was $13,000 less than my starting salary was at my company. This was again around the same time, so it wasn't like there was years difference or anything like that. So I honestly don't know. That might be a situation where it's like it depends on the firm. Although I have to say, when I was working there, I did apply for a bunch of different internships, and this one actually had the highest pay as an intern. So I'd assume it would be very similar when it comes to like starting salaries, but I think it just depends. Because I work in insurance and it's a very specialized type of insurance, I feel like they may pay their employees a little bit more, just because again, it's specialized. You need like years of experience to really like understand what is going on. And so that might be a factor, but I don't think that I would make more somewhere else. I really don't think so, but there's really no way for me to know for sure. What is your favorite comfort food? This is funny because honestly, probably all I eat is comfort food. So I would completely eat healthy if it was like ready to go for me, but for the most part, like especially with 2 kids and like working from home and it just being crazy, like I don't have stuff ready, and that's something that I definitely need to work on, is like just prepping stuff ahead of time. But I would say like if I had to choose one thing, I would say my favorite thing to have would probably be an Oberweis milkshake. If you guys have never had Oberweis, it is like the most amazing thing. Their chocolate milkshakes, chocolate ice cream, amazing. I love, love, love that. But I am also like, I am a total sweets person. I love candy, cookies, ice cream, pretty much anything except for like fancy desserts. I am like a straight, like I just want cookies, brownies, like stuff like that. So anyway, that's kind of that. Have you ever desired to work in public accounting? I actually interned, like I said, at a public accounting firm. I did auditing. I never really thought about doing tax, and my experience at that firm was not the best. I just knew pretty soon, like I would say a week or 2 in, that I did not want to do public accounting. But I think a lot of like what your decisions are based off of is like who you're working with, the environment, and all of that. So I've never desired it because I've experienced it in one situation and I was not a huge fan of it, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be every place. But to answer your question, no, I do not want to work in public accounting. I still don't really want to do that. Who designs your stickers? How do you come up with ideas for the designs? So I design my actual stickers. The prints and all of that you can find in a lot of different, things. They're basically just digital prints or digital paper. So you just like kind of look on the internet, you find some that you like, you have to purchase a commercial license, and then you can use them. It's pretty simple. I design my kit, so I like all of the scripts and like everything like that I have to like physically do myself. But when it comes to the prints and all of that, I just buy those from people who design them. Any advice for first-time home buyers? This is a great question because we have been in our house we bought it in 2016. So for like 4 years now, I don't know exactly how long. We've been here for a couple of years at least. And we have learned a lot. So when we were looking for our house, we had a very tight budget. We didn't have a ton to go with. And a lot of that has to do with where we live. We live really close to the city, like 20 minutes away from the city. And we're like really close to the airport. So this area is extremely expensive. So the type of house you can get here with the money that we spent on this house is so much less than if you were anywhere else, especially like the South. I grew up in North Carolina, so occasionally I'll look at like houses there just to see like what the differences and stuff are. I'm telling you, you can afford so much more anywhere else. I mean, unless you're close to another big city. But I would say the biggest piece of advice is to know that you're probably not going to stay in the house forever. We bought this house thinking like, you know what, this might be able to be like our forever home. We weren't planning on having more kids. It was a 3-bedroom. We had a bedroom for my office. We wanted to change things. We wanted to like knock out walls and finish the basement. And then over time, like especially with a kid, it's not super easy to do those changes. And you start realizing that like the space that you thought you were gaining, because we went from like an apartment to a house, is not very much. Like our house is super tiny. So I would just say go into it knowing that you probably won't be there forever. If there's major things that bother you, and like just think about it like just think really hard about it, because for the most part, a lot of people go into thinking they're going to change a lot and they don't. So just make sure that you're comfortable with the things that you might want to change, like assuming that you don't change them. So one example is, right now we really don't have like a place to put a kitchen table. We have a really tiny kitchen table. It's in our kitchen. It's not really a good layout, but it works. I mean, it's worked for us for these past couple of years, but it's very small. So it was always our plan that we were going to knock out the wall in between the kitchen and the living room, make more space, put like a big counter. That way we could like sit at the counter and stuff. We don't really want like a formal dining room or anything like that. And it just never has happened. So just kind of go into it knowing that, like, make sure that you're okay with the house for the most part the way it is, because big changes like that, knocking down walls, don't always happen. Tell something interesting habits of sweet Mila. So Mila is definitely in like a transition period right now. And I remember the same exact thing with Maci. It's funny how like you forget and then the period comes and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this. So Mila's in that phase where she's just starting to learn how to do things. She can flip both ways, which is really exciting. Not like always very good, like she'll try sometimes and can't do it, but she can like once in a while. She's bringing stuff to her mouth, which is super exciting. So I remember this point with Maci, and it was really frustrating for Maci because she wanted to do so many things. She wanted to like grab her own binky and put it in. She wanted to get places. She wanted to stand up and she couldn't do it. And so Mila's at that point right now where she is learning a ton, but she's also realizing that she can't necessarily do things. Like she can't get places. She can't like stand up by herself, and it's frustrating for her. So that is something that's interesting. Another thing that's interesting is, and it's so weird, at night, Mila sleeps great in her snoo. She's been in there for, you know, months now. Last night, she slept up almost 11 hours straight. Like, I didn't even have to put the binky in her mouth. I think Jason might have had to, like, this morning at, like, 6 or 7 or something. But she slept solid last night. But during the day, she wants to sleep on us. And we've tried a few times, not very hard, but we've tried a few times to get her to sleep in the bassinet during the day, and she just won't do it. So again, she's almost 5 months old. I think at some point we'll probably sleep train her, or like attempt to, because with Maci we were like, we're gonna sleep train her at 6 months old. It got to that point and then she just slept fine, so we never had to do anything. But she's definitely in that period of time where it's like frustrating for her. She's wanting to do things, she can't do them. That's just one of the many interesting things. She started trying food, which is fun, although like she's not at the point where she can like eat a ton of food, so she's still learning. Has your life changed since it's a year after you completed the CPA? It's actually almost exactly a year. I saw on my Instagram yesterday that it's been a year since I posted like that I was waiting for my score. Or maybe I posted that I got my score, I don't remember, but it's been like almost exactly a year. And honestly, my life hasn't changed a ton. Obviously, I'm not studying. I know that I'm like completely done studying. I have no desire at all to study. But work-wise, it hasn't really changed very much. And I've like gotten little promotions and little bonuses and stuff like that. But for the most part, work has not changed at all when it came to the CPA. And as I got closer to finishing it, I kind of knew that that was going to happen. Like, I didn't see any major changes at work. I didn't anticipate any major changes at work because of it. But I have to say, having it definitely gives me peace of mind. Like, I just feel like if I ever needed to find a job somewhere else, if I was ever in a situation where I was doing that I would be okay because of the CPA. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe it doesn't matter, but that was always something that I wanted to do, so I'm glad that I was able to do it. What's your daily work routine? So my work routine right now, working from home, so usually I log in, I start at 6:30 and I'm done at 3:30. So I'll log in at 6:30, I will check any emails, see if there's anything like super important that I need to get done, and then I will start on like just the basic stuff that needs to get done. If I need to send out any emails to anybody asking for anything, if I need to book anything, depending on, you know, what quarter we're working on, Right now it's the end of the first quarter, so normally right now I'd be working on like getting reports out, and that's a little of a struggle because obviously like normally I would have a huge printer at work. I could print stuff, sort stuff, scan stuff back in, print or like send PDFs to everybody, and now I'm waiting on a cord to arrive from California so that I can print out like 1,000 pages, sort them, and then scan them back in and send them to all of our clients. So it's definitely an interesting day. I obviously take a break, and usually during my lunch break I will like try and work on something related to my business, because with 2 kids I have to find any chance I get. Sometimes during my like 10-minute breaks during the day, I'll go on a walk with Maci or just go hang out with Mila for a little bit. My day is almost every day is kind of different, but it's just a weird time right now. It's just really weird. How could you make extra income? So some of the ways that I've made extra income is I started my YouTube channel. Obviously in the very beginning, I didn't do it because of income, but it's happened that like I've made more. So I make more with obviously YouTube. Affiliate links are huge. So like when you guys click on my links for Erin Condren, I get like a small percentage from the sale, which is always really nice. And then of course, Etsy. Like I make money through making stickers. There's so many ways that you can make extra money. It's a little bit harder because of the situation right now, but really like there's no limit on what you can do. You can come up with like a PDF of like anything that you're specialized in. If you want to teach people how to take the CPA exam, if you want to teach them how to study or stay motivated, you could totally put together like a PDF like teaching people stuff and people would buy it. Like there's so many different ways that you can make extra money if you want to. In the past, I've babysat to make extra money. Jason's taken on like a part-time job. So there's so many different opportunities out there. It's just really like what you want to do, how you want to do it. Because if you want to do it from home, that kind of limits you a little bit. And sometimes it takes some time to be able to get to that point. Okay, let's see. So these 2 questions are kind of the same about items, like adding items to my shop, and will I be making stickers for the Daily Duo? I definitely plan to add more to my shop. It's just gonna take a while. Like I try and stress to myself that like Etsy is very important to me. I love doing Etsy, but I also have a full-time job, and so I can't like come out with stuff as fast or as much as I would like to because of that. So I definitely plan to add Daily Duo stickers. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be, hopefully before July though, because obviously that's when they start. But I'm just going to gradually add them as I can, because that's kind of what I have to do with like my situation. But I definitely plan to add more. If there's something specific that you guys want to see, you could always message me on Etsy or anything like that. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more questions and then I'm going to be done because Maci and Jason have to leave pretty soon. This question is about fertility advice / treatments. Someone else asked me how long we were trying before we went and looked for help. So we tried for a few months before we went to go see a fertility doctor. And the only reason why we did that was because I saw everywhere that they said that they wanted you to be off birth control for a while before you would go to the doctor. Just because sometimes when you're on birth control, it can mess with your like cycles and it needs some time to reset. So we waited a few months and nothing happened. I never got a cycle. And I honestly, for a very long time, like even before we got married, thought something was wrong because I wasn't regular at all. It was very unpredictable. A lot of my friends like did not have the issue, and I told Jason that I thought something was wrong, and I had a feeling that something was wrong. So anyway, when we wanted to start trying for Maci, we waited 3 months and then we went to go see my like regular gynecologist, and she ran some tests. She found out that I had PCOS. She confirmed it with blood tests and ultrasounds and all kinds of stuff. And at that point, we decided, okay, we're gonna do like IUIs, or sorry, we're gonna try Clomid. That was like the only thing that really she could do at her office before we would go to like a fertility doctor. So we tried Clomid, I think it was for 2 or 3 cycles, and nothing happened at all. So then she was like, you know what, I definitely recommend that you go see a fertility specialist. She recommended us to the one that we went to see. And then we did 3 rounds of Femera with IUIs, and then we got pregnant with Maci. We did pretty much the same exact thing with Mila. They wanted me to be off birth control for a couple months, so we had to wait a little bit. Then we did 1 round of Femera with an IUI, and we got pregnant with Mila. So my experience definitely has been that like fertility stuff has worked, but I think out of all the fertility issues that you could have, PCOS is one of those things that it's like probably one of the best issues to have, just because they know what to do. And again, it doesn't work for everybody, but they usually just need to get your eggs to grow in order for you to like be able to get pregnant. So that's kind of what we had to do. Again, I knew something was wrong for a very long time, like even before we wanted to start trying. And those 3 months were really hard because again, I felt like something was wrong. I was getting a bunch of like positive ovulation tests like all over the place, but nothing was happening. Like I would take pregnancy test, nothing. I would never get my cycle. Like it was just very, very weird. But again, everything worked out. It was hard in that moment, but now we have Maci and Mila, and that's kind of all that we could have asked for. Okay, I'm gonna do one more question and then I'm going to end it. If you guys wanna leave more questions down below, definitely do that. Have you been able to house hunt? Do you still recommend the Snail? So that's a 2-part question. We have not been looking at houses. We briefly looked at a few houses around us. It was just honestly just getting an idea of like what's around us and like what to expect in terms of price and size and all of that. We are not going to be looking for another house for a while. We want to make sure that we have plenty of money saved. I think if anything, like buying this house has made us realize like we want to be 100% sure before we get into anything. We want to make sure we have plenty of savings. We want to put a ton of money down. And so we are not looking. Although I would love to buy another house, it just doesn't make sense for us to do that right now. In terms of the snoo is amazing. Mila loves it, but I have to say, honestly, I don't know if it makes that big of a difference for Mila, because so like I was saying, I don't know if it makes that big of a difference, and I don't know if I would recommend it because I think it just depends on the kid. I feel like some kids are just destined to be good sleepers. I feel like some kids just need to be swaddled, and like you just have to figure out what they need. So for Maci, once we realized that she needed to be swaddled, she started sleeping really good. And she, like, I mean, at 6 months old, she consistently, besides like a few nights where she was sick or something, would sleep 12 hours a night. Like we felt like there's no way we're ever gonna get another kid that does this. And then with Mila, I mean, like I said, last night she slept 11 hours. So I think it just honestly depends on the kid. I don't know if it would make a huge difference. I have to say though, with the snoo, obviously she is swaddled. She's strapped down. So now that she's rolling over, I still feel comfortable putting her in it because I know that she, one, needs to be swaddled still. I think she would wake herself up if she like had her hands out. She's always putting her hands by her face. So that's one nice thing. Again, because she's strapped down, she cannot roll over no matter what. So that is definitely reassuring. The other thing though is that with the snoo, it is programmed so that when she cries, it'll start shaking more. And I have to say, when it starts shaking more, it makes no difference for her. It shaking does not calm her down. And I think that's the whole purpose of it. Like you have the white noise, which she has a sound machine. So like it's not that big of a deal if she has the white noise from the snoo or not. But the whole purpose of it is that like the shaking and stuff is supposed to help them fall back asleep. And I don't think that it does with Mila. Because again, if she starts crying, and it starts shaking her faster, it doesn't, like it honestly probably more pisses her off. So I don't know if I would recommend it yet. I feel like I have to wait until she's out of it and see how well she sleeps out of it, like when she's not swaddled, to really give you guys a good recommendation about it either way. So anyway, those are my answers for all of your guys' questions. Again, if you guys want to know anything else, let me know down below. I may do another one of these pretty soon. And thank you guys so much for asking me those questions and just sitting down and talking with me. And I will see you guys next time. Bye guys.